Good day and welcome to the state. On this show, we probe the issues and bring the solutions. Today we are coming to you from the premises of the Mount Zion Methodist Society, Sakumono, Tema West of the Tema Diocese. That is where we are coming to you from. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for choosing us. My name is Gabriel to Ankrah. We'll be back with the details.
Yes, the solution to all your travel needs is here. Ankrah Lodge and Travel Services offers you the opportunity to travel to the following countries: Canada, United States of America, Turkey, Dubai, UK, Australia, New Zealand, Malta, Germany, and other European countries, where skilled workers such as nurses, paramedics, nannies, and caregivers, drivers, plumbers, masons, electricians, carpenters, painters, etc. are needed for urgent employment. Ankrah Lodge and Travel Services can secure your Schengen visas with work permits. Individuals, organizations, churches, schools can contact us for their ticketing and hotel reservation, car rental services, international tour packages, travel consultation, visa assistance, and study abroad packages to all countries. We are located at Mr. Bates Bus Stop opposite the Calvary Baptist Church at Abaka, Accra, or contact us on these numbers: 0544 27 9525 or 0545 622 672 or 0302 237557. Ankrah Lodge and Travel Services, your destination, our pride.
Welcome back. So this is the special edition of the state coming to you from the Mount Zion Society, Sakumono, and the Tema Diocese, where the Connectional Lay Movement of the Methodist Church Ghana is holding its 64th and 9th biennial general meeting. So it is a special edition. That is how come we are out of the studio. But yes, there is a probing issue to consider. So in the church, or should I say church governance or leadership, there are two categories of should I say roles that interplay, they interconnect with one another: the clergy, who are the ordained ministers, and the laity. So those two roles, or those two persons, lead in the leadership or governance of the church. The laity play a super role in driving the mission of the church. In missions, or should I say ministry life, those who sing, those who do hospitality, outreach. In leadership, they hold positions in various capacities, and also they do evangelism, going out. So in short, you can say that the laity are the evangelists, the society stewards, they are the what do you call them, preachers, all the roles that those who are not in clerical play. So you can call them foot soldiers in the church, and you might not be far from wrong. So today we are looking at the lay movement of the Methodist Church, its essence and impact in the church. Its essence and impact in the church. And there's no meaner time than to look at when it's holding its general meeting, where they are taking stock. They are more or less measuring the progress, confronting the challenges, and realigning to, I didn't want to say resetting, realigning to make sure that they are in focus in delivering the missions of the church. As usual, we have the men and women who are on top of the subject matter in the studio with us. From my right is a past lay chairman of the Tema Diocese and currently the vice chairman of the Connectional Lay Movement, Brother 𝗟𝗓𝗘. Brother 𝗟𝗓𝗘, welcome to the state.
Thank you very much.
And we also have represented the young people in the Methodist Church at this BGM. She is Priscilla Lai. Priscilla is the secretary of the Diocesan Methodist Youth Fellowship of the Northern Accra Diocese. Priscilla, you're the only woman on the show. Good to have you.
Good to have me here too.
Wonderful. And then of course, we have, you remember I mentioned that the laity hold positions, they drive the governance and leadership of the church. This man rose to, should I say, the pinnacle of lay leadership in the Methodist Church. He's a past lay president of the Methodist Church, Brother Bernard C.K. Botwe. Papa, good to have you on the show.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful. So our viewers today are going to have a feel of what the laity structure, particularly the essence and impact of the laity in the Methodist Church. Because when we talk about the church, we know that more or less is the laity that drives the church. Because talking about mobilization, talking about outreach, it is the laity. So first off, let me start with you, Brother Alfred. How has the BGM started? You are serving on you are hosting.
Yes.
Yes. So how has it been so far?
Oh, the BGM. Let me first thank you for the opportunity to appear on this show, and also to thank God for giving us such a successful BGM. I think so far I would say it's been very, very good. Attendance has been massive since yesterday. There were a few glitches here and there, but I think these have all been resolved. And I think members so far are quite excited. So let me say, yes, it's
going well.
Yes,
going well. So
well,
logistics and people have accommodation.
Accommodation
Feeding is going
feeding
well.
is going well.
Everything is going well.
Yes.
Very well.
We just finished the opening ceremony, which was a very colorful ceremony.
Colorful ceremony.
Presiding Bishop himself was here. The lay president, of course, is presiding with. The admin also came. Administrative Bishop was also here, and then all the past lay presidents who are able to attend. I think it's been very encouraging.
Very well. Priscilla, is it your first time at a BGM?
Yes, it's actually my very first time.
It's your first time. So tell me, how is the feel like? How are you enjoying BGM?
Okay, I had a lot of expectations coming here, being my first time, and also being part of the young people. And believe you me, from yesterday till today, there's a lot of lessons that I've actually picked here. And as a leader of the young people, I believe this is an opportunity to equip myself with requisite knowledge that will help me dispense my duties as a secretary much better.
Very well, very well. And on the state and WTV in particular, we are very particular about exposing the young people to leadership. That is how come you are sitting in between big shots in the Methodist Church.
It's a very good initiative.
Yes, Papa, past president, you have seen it all, in and out. How is this year's BGM going from where you sit?
Thank you very much for the opportunity so far. But certainly, as every human out there, we have one or two issues. But I do believe that problems there will be solutions that must be. Anytime such issues have been brought to the knowledge of the organizers, they've been very smart. Okay. They've been very smart and brisk in preferring solutions to them. So it's good. It's good. And
very well.
So
when you say the lay movement is holding biennial general meeting, what do you mean? What do you do?
Right. The lay movement. The beginnings of Methodism, has to do with revered Father John Wesley used to call it a movement. And so history has it that John Wesley actually didn't form a church before he died. He died as an Anglican priest. So it was rather the movement, the protagonist, those who actually caught his vision. They continued with the movement and eventually metamorphosed into what we are seeing now as Methodists. Indeed, people out of prejudices saw the way they were doing their things and called them Methodists, methodical people. These are people who are doing things methodically, hence Methodists. So when we say the people called Methodists, it means that we work according to order, form, and a design. So we are not the haphazard people. By our nature, our formation, and our origination, we are methodical in all that we do.
Very well, very well, very well. I wanted you to tell us typically what happens at a gathering like this when
Very
you
well.
come.
So, as such gathering, since we constitute the majority or the highest part of the church, we retreat to take a look at all that we've been doing, particularly so when we are enjoined by our constitution that the lay movement should mobilize all late. The council should do that. So the whole essence of mobilizing them to implement church decisions from society up to connection. And then we coordinate the activities of all the organizations. When we meet like this, we try to take a look at what we are either doing right or wrong. So that it informs and defines the way we go forward.
Okay.
Right.
Quickly, we'll look at some of the subject matter, some of the key issues that have come up, still having in mind the essence and impact of the lay movement. In a minute, brother Alfred, what are the highlights of this BGM? What are the key things that is the election? What is the business? What is the agenda like?
Thank you very much. This particular BGM, we'll say, is very unique because it comes at the back of two landmark celebrations. The lay movement was 75 last year, but because we didn't have the opportunity of celebrating it, we are climaxing our 70th anniversary here. So this is the climax of that event. Then the church, as we know, is 190 years old. So these two landmark events are together at this particular BGM. And therefore, we have put together a couple of topics to really energize ourselves, remind ourselves, and then equip us, for the way forward. For instance, yesterday in the evening, we had a talk on the constitution of the Methodist Church, the church we want. How do we apply our constitution to build our relationships and deepen our faith as Methodists? And I think our immediate past president, Brother William Olinsodro Esquire, took us through that. This afternoon we are having a talk on mental health, which is a topical issue now. And we think that the church should be interested in the mental health of its members. And we should prepare people to understand some of the issues that come with mental health. So we have Very Reverend Dr. Ajika, who is a psychologist by training and also a minister, walking us through that topic. Okay. We're going to have a topic also, a discussion on entrepreneurship, which is one of the key items on the agenda of the lay movement as we speak. Then we'll crown it all with a talk on using AI and the internet in our worship, in our fellowshipping, and even in our church growth agenda. So these are some of the key things that we are going to be working on.
Usually at general meetings, both the annual and biennial ones, there are elections. Are you holding elections?
Yes, we are holding elections this year because the BGM is our highest decision-making body as a laity, and next year is not a conference year. The current officers, including my good self, are ending our tenure on the 30th of September 2026. And so we need to elect officers who will take over from the current executive effective 1st October 2026. And so there are going to be elections tomorrow before we leave here.
Okay. Now we'll look at 75 years. You mentioned that the lay movement is 75 years. We'll look at it. But let me bring in Priscilla, because you mentioned entrepreneurship and then artificial intelligence. That falls right under where your people, your constituency is. But before you
with the last flight, we had 250 delegates that were then present. I struck the percentage myself, and
That's
I realized we had about 17.2%.
You are doing below the 30%
of the young
threshold.
people, but then we were assured that others were yet to report. So by the close of today, I believe that we would be able to hit that mark.
Okay, so we'll be watching closely because we need to hold leadership to account when if 30% must be 30, because the young people you are there. How
Yes.
come we couldn't get 30%?
Exactly.
So it's something that we need to
But the
analyze.
interesting thing is that we had 129 new members who are attending BGM for the first time. And of that, we have 43 being young people. So I think that we need to be very intentional.
Very intentional.
And
That's
put
the
in
word.
strategies to really bring them on board. Yes, so that we have a holistic, ministry, because they are really today, not the future.
Exactly. So look at the history, the 75, the impact that lay movement. What is there to celebrate? But entrepreneurship, we know the young people complain a lot about unemployment. So it was launched at the last conference in Kumasi, the Methodist Development Entrepreneurship Program. In fact, there's a fund that has been established. How are the young people utilizing it? Has it begun in your diocese? Have you heard of any diocese? And how prepared are you, the young people?
Thank you, Nee. So, for some time now, I believe those who were into arts and all were given the opportunity to provide their details, and then from there we take it on. I mean, from my circuit and from my diocese, I was able to collate a few names that I tendered in, but I'm yet to hear
What
from.
is a few? 3 people?
Oh no, that's more than 3. At least I can count up to about 5.
5. The whole
Yes.
diocese who are
Those-
skilled.
Yes, I mean,
With
put the
artisans
message
and-
out there. Those who that respond to that call is what you make use of.
So let me just put you on the spot, Priscilla. So if of all the young people in your diocese, you said there's an opportunity, we complain that the church, you are not employing us, we come up with them, and the opportunity comes, and only 5 are interested. Are we motivated? I mean, is the leadership motive? Why is it that they don't respond? Is it that they have they told you? Maybe you have responded.
Oh, for now, none of them has actually come out to tell me the reason behind them not responding.
Responding.
But for those that are interested to, it is our prayer whenever we receive those names and then forward them. It is our prayer that at least something good will yield out of it. And if we have that result, then I believe that we could use that as a testimony or as an evidence for those that are silent about this particular initiative.
Very well. Quickly, artificial intelligence. Late President in his address touched on it. How we can maximize it. The youth.
Let me say that I mean, became quite easy. Unlike formerly when you had to travel distances just to put a letter before someone or just to get an information across. Today you can relax anywhere, anytime, any day and just get your work done. All you need is your commitment and then your efficiency. Even with just this mobile phone, I'm able to reach as many members as I have currently. My diocese has over 4,000 members. And imagine me getting to all these people without AI. It would have been a huge task. And aside dissemination of information, it has also become a platform where we are able to store information. For example, is our email. So whatever we do, whatever message we want to get across out there, once it is sent, or even personally as a secretary, after dealing with that particular document, I can easily keep it there. And then future administrations that are taking over from me simply have access to it. And
I hear it's making you lazy too, because you just put it there, it write reports for you, it just generate, and you should be aware of disinformation and misinformation.
That's very important, Nee. So it's making a lot of our young people lazy because they don't even need to work hard anymore. Today in our schools, projects come and then all someone needs to do is to key in the topic and then AI prepares everything. But I believe that when we abuse the AI or the artificial intelligence, one way or the other, we are weakening our own core. Because formerly, how you would used to think on your toes and then think fast and act accordingly. Today, it is no longer like that. So students have books, but then they refuse to read. They have slides, they refuse to read, knowing that I have AI.
It's one of the dangers we need to look at. Papa, let me come to you. Papa Botri, 75 years of lay movement activity in the church. What is there to celebrate? Of course, I remember your tenure, and then when Lawyer Odro took over, for nothing at all, the building of the Dambai, Damongo, Nalerugu chapel. So at least there's something to show that.
Agenda DDN.
Agenda, at least that one is there to say 75 years. What is there to celebrate? Has it been hawking, should I say, locking horns with the clergy? Has it been what? Why should we celebrate anything?
Thank you very much. We have a lot to celebrate. We have a lot. The originators, they have a meeting of the lay. So it was on the sideline during the ministerial session. And they were thinking about how best they could assist the middle forward. Was responsibility. They had a lot on their hand. They were doing everything. And so to assist, that word, operational word, was developed to assist in the preaching, going out, the caretakers, the catechist concept, and they develop all those things so that their work could be enlightened in a way. And afterwards, I would even want to talk more about the days of Pa Ato Esuma, when we went to Episcopal, Pa Asantiemchi, may his soul rest in peace, when he started talking about
the 99 to the early
that's
2000s.
Right, the Methodist University. Hostel. At the time, it had 250 spaces for students. Then, fast forward, let me also talk about Pratt, JK, and his team. They also said, no, let us continue that vision. And then we had Afroya publication. There were a few others that actually couldn't be rolled out, but they had plans for a lot of things that could, in a way, also generate some form of income to support the activities of the movement throughout the connection. And then to our time, between 2017, 2020, when the then government created additional regions president, members of our church, particularly in Dambai, they worshipped in school, classroom blocks and other things. I recall very well when we made our first visit there with the immediate past presiding bishop. We were welcomed at the training, the College of Education. That was what so we found the need to get a place for them. And that brought the agenda DDN, Dambai, Damongo, and then Naleru. Damongo had also become a regional capital. But I tell you, this structure, the old structure for Mount Zion, was much better and bigger. So we also had to think about that. And then Nalerugu didn't have at all. So with all these things, together with the support that we gave to the presiding bishops and the admin bishops, I think that the church couldn't have come this far without
the late
movement.
Very well, very well, brother Alfred. Let me come to you. This is a bit controversial, and the presiding bishop's address this morning at the opening ceremony, he bemoaned the fact that the loyalty of the members of the church are towards the organizations, and it seems like in the organizations they are burdened with dues, financial commitment that is making them lose the zest and the vim to worship. And then some have argued that there are too many organizations, 75 years going on. Do you agree that there are too many organizations in the Methodist Church? Why don't you have men's fellowship, women's fellowship, youth fellowship, and you are done?
That's about, the lay movement is supposed to do three things, and I think Brother Buju has already alluded to that. We are to mobilize, we are to implement, and we are to coordinate. So when it comes to organizations, the coordination bit that the lay movement does, and I believe that we need to strengthen the lay movement. When the lay movement is really functioning, the issues of these organizations would be addressed to a large extent, because the coordination involves the lay movement putting together and harmonizing the activities of the organizations. You see, the challenges that we have had are, duplication of issues. I mean, sometimes you have a society where men's fellowship will be having a program, and at the same time, maybe the women's fellowship or SUMA also be doing something. And so it becomes challenging for members of the society as to how to even support the efforts of these organizations. So I believe that once the lay movement is really functioning very effectively, we should be able to coordinate so that we work in harmony. And the issues are also that people are not very well educated about what the lay movement is there for. Sometimes people think that even lay movement is another organization. So it makes it difficult for them to really flow with what the lay movement is doing. So I believe to think it's not about too many. But if you ask me personally, I think that if we really synchronize, then it will be like, just as you said, men's ministry, women's ministry, youth ministry, and then children's ministry. But I believe that under our present circumstances, they all have things that they can offer in their own unique ways. Yes.
Very well, viewers, if you are just joining us, this is the state, and we are coming to you from the premises of the Mount Zion Methodist Society, Sakumono, Tema West Circuit, and the Tema Downs, where the Connectional Lay Movement is holding its 64th and 9th biennial general meeting. So the leadership of the laity has congregated, and they are taking stock, measuring progress, confronting challenges, and realigning to play their role in driving the church's mission. We are joined in the studio by distinguished leaders of the laity, of the Methodist Church, helping us to really understand and appreciate, and in line with trying to understand that 75 years of laity in the Methodist Church, what happened past president, past president of conference of the Methodist Church, Brother Clement Butchie. Papa, we are glad you still with that. A bite of what I took, the debate I nearly started on Priscilla, I thought you were a young person, you also have a stake.
You know, when it comes to this organizational issue, I would beg to borrow the statement in our ministers used during the Eucharist. So they always say that though we are many, we are one body. Yes. So we are many organizations, but then we are one body. But then it's so appalling how other organizations treat other organizations, especially when it comes to activities. That is the adult organizations rallying behind them. Most of the time, just but then forgetting that we are the children of the church. So whatever we do, no matter how old we are, we still need our parents with us. So the little I'm adding is more or less an encouragement or an admonishment that we should acknowledge that we may be many organizations and every organization has its own objectives. So we should acknowledge that we are one body and we should support each other when it comes to activities. And another thing could be that we could merge as organizations and then even come up with one good activity which would promote, socialization and then togetherness amongst us to take out the thought of us being different institutions in the church. We may be wearing different uniforms, but then when you pick each and every logo, what begins? Methodist. So first, before we become members of these various organizations, we should always keep in mind that we are Methodists.
So coming from the young finger on the that president is that. Do we know the number of lawyers who are Methodists? Do we know the number of pharmacists? Because we need to bring all these giftings, all these talents to the use of the church.
Thank you very much for raising this topic. Several attempts in the past have been made towards fostering closer unity between the organizations of the church. I recall very well during the tenure of office of Pa Asamochi and Professor Emmanuel Asante, to be able to get a common approach to things, particularly projects and programs. There my mind sets me right. I would use is very well that after the committee, we could interact and engage on this. They met only once. As to why this couldn't come to fruition, I mean, nobody has explained to me till that. So the question I kept asking myself, why is it not possible to get this done? At the end of the day, as our sister said, the beginning of the description is the Methodist Church Ghana before you talk about any organization. Yet, when it comes to trying to coordinate, bring projects together, we still need to interrogate why organizations will still want to run alone. Otherwise, it is difficult to understand why, if it is youth fellowship program, women fellowship stay away, men fellowship will stay like fighting. So with why
the power is seasoned health administrator. Season 1. Do we have data? Because we need to bring all these to the use of the
this
church.
data.
We'll do that in a minute and we'll take a break.
We have called for directorates. We used to call it professional directives. My first time in conference was in 1994. If you ever take hold of any agenda, professional directorate will be running through. I keep my agendas. We have been talking about as to who should be held responsible. We still need to interrogate. We have leaders, but anytime instruction comes from Ankrah, we don't get the responses. And because we don't crack the whip.
Yeah. Perhaps that is why
we don't crack the whip.
A minute. Why don't we have on the professional director?
I think what is happening is some doubt to the high. So if we get that commitment, I think we probably are still not seeing the importance of having this professional directory, because it is something that will benefit the church a lot in our planning. Because at a point in time, in fact, in some of the dioceses, they have the legal professionals association, they have the medical association, educationists and all that. It's about harnessing all that and making sure that we really have them firmly, recorded in our database. So I think the now strategic plan that is being driven really has to focus on that as well, because when we're able to do it and even have some of them visible as society stewards, circuit stewards, and members of coordinating offices, then we'll see that commitment. In fact, let me just take you. Last year, the Young Women held the colloquium at the Wesley Towers, and one of the presentations that came was from Professor Atuesuma. He really drew attention to this particular issue, and we even invited one brother, Thomas Bruni, circuit steward in the Northern Ankrah diocese, to come and speak to why professionals are not showing up. And clearly, it's about the respective societies and what their priorities are. Because some ministers are very much keen on getting professionals on board. Others also really have not really shown that kind of interest.
75 years.
So I think we need to really address that. So, Brother Christy, I think what we need to do is to really make it a conscious agenda of the church.
You need to be intentional.
Push it to the utmost. Otherwise, it will still be the same.
US, this is a special edition of the state, coming to you from Mount Zion Society, Sakumono, and the Tema Diocese. And with us are lay leaders of the Methodist Church at this year's biennial general meeting. When we come back, we're going to make you hear from delegates how they think the lay movement have fared and what the way forward will be in their experiences. We'll take a quick breather. Please don't go, stay. We'll be right back.
Oh yes, the solution to all your travel needs is here. Ankrah Lodge and Travel Services offers you the opportunity to travel to the following countries: Canada, United States of America, Turkey, Dubai, UK, Australia, New Zealand, Malta, Germany, and other European countries, where skilled workers such as nurses, paramedics, nannies, and caregivers, drivers, plumbers, masons, electricians, carpenters, painters, etc. are needed for urgent employment. Ankrah Lodge and Travel Services can secure your Schengen visas with work permits. Individuals, organizations, churches, schools can contact us for their ticketing and hotel reservation, car rental services, international tour packages, travel consultation, visa assistance, and study abroad packages to all countries. We are located at the Bates bus stop opposite the Calvary Baptist Church at Ankrah, or contact us on these numbers: 0544 27 9525 or 0545 622 672 or 0302 237557. Ankrah Lodge and Travel Services, your destination, our pride.
My name is Most Reverend Professor Emmanuel Kokwasante, one time presiding bishop of the Methodist Church Ghana. I have come to you today to introduce to you a book that I have, by the grace of God, written under the title Ministry and Leadership in Context. Now, this book will be launched on the so the better ministry or sumo juma nyoma boko la sebi nkwana ministers na so kakra nyankopon dia ma wo de sum o mine no so ye minister and kwan of aswa wo besum ahobrasiemu na wo de ashi nyankopon animo nyam na ho so abafa so ama oni nipa wo sum wo no osiada eda to so aduno and song our sabos me.
Sunday, the 27th of July, book launch. This special book launch at the Amakom Methodist. Please make sure you are there. The book being launched by past presiding bishop of the Methodist Church, Most Reverend Emmanuel Kweku Asante. If you have followed him, you know he's deep with knowledge not only in theology but in other areas. So let's all make it a point. Let's block the date, 27 July at Amakom Methodist, and let's support this book launch. Buy and then invest into our brain, for knowledge, they say, is power. Knowledge is power. So it's still the special edition of the states coming to us from the Mount Zion Methodist Society here in Sakumono in the Tema Diocese. And we have lay leaders sharing their thoughts and helping us to understand lay movement at 75 as the church celebrates 190 years. What the impact has been, what the challenges are as they take stock of progress and challenges that they face as a movement. And we have past lay chairman of the Tema Diocese and currently the vice chair of the Conditional Lay Movement, Brother Alfred Sechi, also a youth leader, secretary of the MYF, Methodist Youth Fellowship of the Northern Ankrah Diocese, Prislana Latele Laye, also past president of conference or past lay president, Brother Bernard C.K. Butchie, helping us to really, and I want to believe that you have understood the laity, the scope of work and the mandate, the purpose, and how the lay movement has been operating since. Now, what caught our attention before we go and waving and grows in the discussion is about entrepreneurship. The young people asking for employable skills and the opportunities it is offered, and the young people are nowhere to be found. They want the white collar jobs, and they complain that the church is not taking care of them. Gentlemen and lady, welcome back from the break. Yes. Now, can we talk about welfare of members of the church? How is the lay movement? What role is the lay movement playing? Because again, I refer to the lay president. That one, he's even suggesting a hero's support for those who serve and they are out of office and they are not supported. But welfare of members in its entirety in the church. How have we fared, brother Butchie?
When there's provision under our MPRP in the Constitution and standing orders, among other things, welfare issues are stated there. That is on the paper. But if you travel across the connection, now when you are using the connection, you have to be careful because we've gone outside, but at least within our country, there are different forms and shapes of welfare associations. Some go strictly by NCNC, to wait, no contribution, no job. Which, for me, is not biblical. NCNC belongs to the other side, where H is for himself and God is for us all. But for us, within the house of God, the fact that I am there means I'm a family member. I can't say it's all our fingers are not the same. We have taller ones and shorter ones. So if somebody is not endowed, that person should not suffer. Now again, dioceses have been encouraged also to come out with the formation of even support schemes. As I speak now, I know Winneba is far ahead. For Su Diocese, I'm a chairman of that support scheme. And we are calling on members to contribute at least register of 50 cedis and at least 50 cedis a month within the churches and the societies. Some say that they have set aside some Sundays, they take general offering and then they support. When somebody dies, they raise some money and then they donate to support him. There are several forms. we are yet to come out with a standard one to direct all societies to that line. Until now, we have different ways of doing this.
Doing welfare.
Yeah, going
Priscilla,
about that matter.
do you have welfare at where you are?
Oh, yes, we do. We do. But
Welfare not when only somebody dies and you high bus and you go.
that is what I was coming to. But as a church, we mostly limit our welfare schemes to the fact that we are waiting for someone to get married, someone to have a naming ceremony, someone to have lost a family member or a close relative that or on an admission or have suffered some sort of severe ailment or an accident or something. But then speaking for the young people, there are a number of young people we have in our churches, especially in Ankrah today, who actually have no relatives within the city. So the question is, these people here are here to fend for themselves, and some of them even come to Ankrah not with a standard qualification for them to earn a job. So when this happens, they tend to these other forms, what today we call hustling. Now the question is, the hustling they are doing, is it hustling in the right mind of God or otherwise? So they find themselves in these states, and then there's no policy or decision making for in the church which helps them in that direction. So they are forced to fall into all other forms of acts and then
Vices,
doing vices just because they want to make ends meet. Recently, we keep talking about as young people that gambling has been on the high. And to be sincere, it's very true, because I've sat in church service where I've actually seen my young people on a first Sunday on a bet platform. Yes. There was another time, you wouldn't believe, we were going to visit this brethren who was sick. On our way, we just had go from one pub like that, and a sister actually just went to spy on which team was actually involved, just to know where to bet and how much to do. So I believe that the church can do better. We shouldn't wait for somebody to suffer a misfortune before we consider the person to have met our welfare standard. But we should also consider our young people. There's the widows and all others in whatever decision we take, and we should make provision for such people when that happens. And also on the issue that some of them, because they don't have jobs and others, have actually laid themselves down for church work. So when that happens, I feel we could appreciate these people rather than always going by the saying of "Oya sorry ba," so "Oya sorry ba," so do for God. We keep saying "do for God, do for God," and that is why we'll be losing the young people in the church, because sorry be better and we'll do better. Accommodation,
we don't do.
Yes. So before you realize it, not actually. So if they don't fall to all these vices, you realize that they slip out of our hands. Meanwhile, it took us a lot to go out there to evangelize and bring them into the fold of Christ. So I believe we could do better regarding.
Very well. We just in the last minutes of our time. Let me switch to spirituality. The laity have a role to play in maintaining the spirituality of members. You go to reach out and bring new members, and they must grow, just our theme says, growing into maturity. Presiding in his address this morning hit on how our services are run or conducted. Announcement and other things take much of the time. Less prayer, less meditation, less. Is that a true reflection of what is happening? Let me start with you, Brother Sechi. The spirituality, what role is the lay playing in that?
Thank you very much. I think that the ones who really have to lead, these are just one person. And we have evangelists who are also lay evangelists. I would say that there are so many interventions. One, the lay are the class leaders. In the Methodist, you know the role of the class is very key in even nurturing us spiritually. Because it's at that fellowship where the class leader who serves as the small pastor, let me put it that way, of that flock, or the shepherd of that small flock, is able to reach out to the individual members. So for me, one of the areas that we need to restructure and see function effectively is a class system. Well, we are not doing it so well. Now class routine, we just take the
Is it
boxes.
part of, because his concern was so much attention goes into announcements and things, and to the detriment of prayer, the place of prayer, and the place of the word, the meditation. So we should look at how we conduct our services. I can see the young lady nodding.
I believe that, yes, the services are key, but you see, Christianity is an individual thing. And so, where we can really build, that is my personal view, where we can really build our members is the class. If the classes are very well structured and very well managed, that becomes the basic tool for teaching our members, because each member is supposed to belong to a class, and we have the weekly Bible lessons very well developed, and it's a very good study material if you look at it. So for me, I believe that if we get our classes, because that's where the discipleship really works.
Sure.
If it's handled very well, then we get our members
We'll build them
we build them spiritually, because we have teaching services people don't even attend. We have, where you see people coming is when there's a revival and they hear that, oh, there's this man of God coming.
Powerful man.
Yes, then you see the chapel so
Feel
full.
to-
But I think that it is not about these events. They are just one-stop events. After the revival, what happens? So when the classes are very well, in place and are functioning, then we get our members to really grow, and that's what I think.
Papa Boche, spirituality.
Thank you very much. I really accepted the statement in full. You see, with my experience, having even relocated to my hometown, what I've realized is that people talk about that we need more opportunities for prayer and other things. But when you invite them for prayer, it's also another thing as to how people would just mobilize themselves and come for the program. I mean, it has become another thing altogether. Alfred made a good point. Christianity is experiential. In other words, it's a personal experience that you need to have to know Christ. Christianity is demonstrable. You need to demonstrate what you believe, as well as being expressive. You express what you believe within you. These three key points you can only be guided to do, but nobody can do them for you. And you can do this by availing yourself to teaching. That is why Methodism believes in teaching, learning, teaching. But unfortunately, people of today also believe in praying, and I don't know what they pray on. Because you need to hear the word and pray with the word as a basis. Otherwise, there is no power. Because it was by the word that all things were created.
Very
You know, so we need as individuals to be committed more. We need to be committed more.
Very well. So the viewers you just heard, past lay president of the Methodist Church Ghana, Brother Bernard Clement Butchie, sharing his thoughts on how the is contributing the spirituality of the church. So we'll play the voices of some delegates. We took this a special edition of the state delegates on the essence and impact of the lay movement as we are at this BGM here at Mount Zion, Sakumono. Let's hear the thoughts of these other delegates.
Now, what is the essence of the Lay Movement Council?
Oh, the Lay Movement Council was formed to coordinate the activities of the organizations and also help in implementation of church's decision. The lay form majority of the church because the ministers may not be up to even 1% of the total membership. So the lay coordinate the activities of all the organizations. And the organizations in Methodist Church play a major role So ordinarily, those who are not members of the organization, you see them to be too passive in churches' activities. So we give recognition to the various organizations. So it's the lay movement who coordinate those activities. Now it's also formed so that we will meet and discuss the issues of the church.
So the lay is there so that we those who are not so no, you are not crazy can also learn something about what has called the implementation of the church's decisions, and then to also organize all the organizations for them to be able to do the work that they are embarked.
In the leadership of the church, we believe that it is time that the church really give that backing of 30% representation of young people at all levels of decision making of the church. So I believe that the lay movement, at the lay movement level, leaders meeting, quarterly meetings, synod and conference, we should see more of our young people taking leadership roles at these places. Yeah.
Most often the ministers feel the laity. We are competing them, but I believe we are all there to complement each other. The ultimate is the kingdom business, so I believe.
Okay, viewers, we just heard from people around on the grounds of Mount Zion Methodist Church at the 4th and 9th biennial general meeting. Over to you, Gabi. Now, what is the essence of the thing?
Very well. That was my colleague 𝗟𝗜𝗘 talking to some delegates there at the BGM. Here they're finding out what they really think about the essence and impact of the lay movement. You heard the other delegates express their thoughts with my colleague 𝗟𝗜𝗘. What do you make of their positions and thoughts they express, Priscilla?
It is all well said, Nee, because the Lay Movement Council, for me, would say has one major role to ensure that everything is functioning in the church. And when we talk about lay, Nee, you and I, we are all lay. So we need to play our roles right. If you and I are doing our own part, and then the council is also doing their part, I believe that at our next BGM, we may not be talking about the same topics that today we want to decide on, because when decisions are made and actions are taken towards such decisions, I mean, we move from square one and we are going forward. So when that happens, it means, so it's not just about sharing our opinions and coming to have all the talks and all the discussions, but question is, after the talks, what next? So we need to think about that and ensure that whatever decision we are taking home from here as Diocesan executives, as council executives, as circuit leaders here and there, we should make sure that decisions are being implemented and then reports are given on the results.
Bernard Clement Butchie, your thoughts on what the colleague, the delegates shared, the voices we heard?
We need more action. Bosunjeju will say talkability is not doability.
Talkability is not
It's
doability.
not doability. It's the problem. That coordinating the activity need to interrogate why the organizations are not ready to subsume or to submit a bit to the authority of the councils, because our sister made up. The movement. And here we have the challenge. The commitment is more to the organizations than to the council. Again, we need to interrogate why that. Otherwise, it will still be a litany of lamentation that we always.
We have a lot of interrogations.
It is a lot
after
of
75 years.
Sure, sure.
Brother Alfred.
Thank you very much. I think that they have said it all. My view is that we still have a challenge building an all-inclusive lay movement, because you see the constitution is that every member of the church who is not non-clerical, that's it, all of us who are not in color are part of the lay movement. But you see an announcement, you hear an announcement being made, what upon a lay for no will be share, and who brings an it's a steward, who is a lay,
who is lay himself.
So the all-inclusive thing is what we must get. It's unfortunate that we have people attending conferences, synods. They go back, and when the lay movement meeting is called, as Priscilla said earlier, you will not get people even to attend, even when it's church activities. People are more committed because it's about my organization, it's not about the society. So when it's organization now, and so we are operating in silos. You see, men's fellowship thing is men's fellowship. Women's fellowship, you know. So let's look at the all-inclusive agenda and how to really make it happen.
We hope
to trigger it, activate it to make it
75 years and beyond. Let me quickly, with just some few minutes to go. There's going to be an election for what? How do you do your electoral commission? Will be you bring boxes, you campaign, you do posters. How do you do your elections?
This is a very interesting. You want me to answer?
Yes, it's an issue.
Okay, I think that in the past we've had electoral college where representatives from organizations and dioceses meet and then they do the elections. But at our BGM in Koforidua, I think on the floor of the BGM there was a decision that we need to adopt the universal adult suffrage, where all delegates are given the opportunity to elect their officers. So I believe the mandate to elect our officers.
But was that decision, is it part of the review of your bylaws and things that you are putting in? If that is the case, that has to be part of the expanded GPC. So that would they apply to this election? You can't tell.
I think it was a decision of BGM. And once the BGM decided, we have come to another BGM. It means that we can implement that decision of BGM.
So it's going to be universal.
So I'm sure the legal people can explain further. I'm not a legal person, so I'll leave that for.
Very well. We just go with you.
Okay, thank you, Nee. So to conclude everything, I think I would like to encourage all Methodists young people to be inclusive in every single activity of the church. Through our organizations, with the fellowship, and we grow the fellowship, and we are unable to grow the church of God, then we haven't fulfilled our mandate. So we should try as much as we can to fulfill that. Thank you.
My view is the motto of one of the organizations: United we stand,
divided we fall. That's Christ's little.
After 75 years, we still need to be more united than we are now.
Brother Alfred, take the last bite.
Okay, I think what I will say is from NHB 570 to serve the present age, my calling to fulfill. You see, so all of us, we really have times and seasons, and God places us at vantage points for various reasons. So I believe that it is for us to ensure that we really give up our best wherever we find ourselves, so that the church of God will grow. And as he said earlier on, we are one body. 1 Corinthians 12 talks about the body made up of different parts, and each part has a role to play. So I think that we need to understand our rules and make sure that we complement what others are doing, so that the church of God will grow and become better.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
This has been a special edition of The State, coming to you from the premises, or should I say the premises is right. Yes, coming to you from the premises of the Mount Zion Methodist Society, Sakumono, and the Tema Dowses, where the national movement is holding its BGM, and we have lay leaders discussing with us the lay movement, its essence and impact after all these years in partnering or leading the church and advancing the mission of the church. So we've had as our guest Brother 𝗟𝗩𝗘, past lay chairman of Temada Houses and current vice chairman of Connectional Lay Movement, Priscilla Nala Tili Laye, yes, Priscilla Nala Tili Laye, who is the engage you viewers to it's been please, it's weekend, drink enough water, make sure you rest. 27 July, go and support past presiding bishop in Amakum Methodist to launch his book. My name is Gabriel ni Otu Ankrah. Until Monday, it's goodbye.